So I'm super happy to start recording this amazing podcast today that we invented a name couple hours ago. So we call that the Builder Podcast on Flow because so that's a great way to just discover a bit more about the entrepreneurship in the adventure of all the amazing builders and ambitious builders that are building crazy products on Flow. So we are really lucky to have today around this table Mathurin, the CEO of MFL. We're going to deep dive a little bit more about this, and also Sean Robb, the product lead at Flow Foundation currently. So potentially we can start with a quick introduction from yourself, and then we will continue from there.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks for having me first. Super excited to be here. Here in Brussels, it's awesome. So yeah, I'm Matt. I'm the CEO of MFL. I'm French, as you can maybe notice by my accent. I'm based in Paris, and yeah, I have a background mostly in the tech industry and sports industry, and maybe I can explain that a bit later. But yeah, that's me and the CEO of MFL.
That's crazy. So we are all I'm French too, but we're all gonna speak English for some obvious reason for the audience, and also to make sure we can chat with Sean. So Sean, can you introduce you a little bit?
Yeah, so my name's Sean, here product lead of the Flow Foundation. Before this, I was working at MasterCard, building out their network of the future, really trying to process credit cards at scale in a decentralized manner. After that, shifted over to the Dapper Wallet side, helping grow and scale that onboarding and processing system. Recently, shifted over to Flow full time, trying to build out the ecosystem and really scale it to millions.
That's really exciting. Potentially, you can also introduce a little bit more the Flow Foundation, because they were a big. So we have this whole story. We know how it started with CryptoKitties and then Dapper and then Top Shot, and then now Flow Foundation is an independent entity. But potentially, you can
absolutely. It's still a thing from Flow Foundation. Is something to get used to. I think Dapper Labs and Flow formally separated earlier this year, so my Dapper badge shifted into a Flow badge. Functionally, organizationally, they've been operating separate for many years, but we took the big step forward to formalize it and legalize it and establish the Flow Foundation going forward to really expand the scope of what we want to do for Flow and Web3.
That's great. I think at one point, having Dapper Labs as the launcher of the Flow Foundation was an amazing way to create just for a quick story also for the audience, we all know that the Dapper team and the Flow Foundation team started with CryptoKitties back then in 2017. They broke Ethereum by reaching 30% of the gas at that time. They realized the need to create a new infrastructure that would fit a bit more the user experience that they wanted to launch. CryptoKitties was the first kind of proof of concept of digital sovereignty. Our legendary CTO in-house and Chief Architect Officer, sorry, that's more precise, created back then the ERC 721 standard, and everyone is using and leveraging today. And so when they had those difficulties on East, they decided to launch Flow blockchain, and then followed years of iteration and creating the most consumer-oriented protocol where you can leverage an amazing product NBA Top Shot. So they launched NBA Top Shot, they launched NFL All Day, they launched Disney Pinnacles, and now I like to see it as kind of an incubation phase also, to see how they could fine tune all those consumer feature at a protocol level to now release all that with Crescendo to the EVM community. So we have two zones in the network: the EVM zone, where you can just deploy your Solidity code from any Solidity smart contract with zero code changes, and just works. And then you can leverage the user experience with the Cadence side, because that's actually where we value to let the amazing product MFL arrive on Flow, and also leverage the user experience. You're an OG on Flow. We know also each other for years.
Yes.
To be honest with the audience, and I would love to have a little bit more info about your background. How did you join Web3, and what's MFL?
Yeah, definitely. So I have a background mostly in tech and sports. I have on my side, I have an engineering degree, and then I worked mostly in Paris in the tech industry, in consulting companies, helping different clients on their digital tech project. I did that for 4 years. Then I moved to the US in San Francisco, where I co-founded a company that was focusing on daily fantasy sports. So it was an analytic platform to help the users to create better lineups for daily fantasy sports. And so we were providing data, tools, algorithm, etc., to help them create that. Then after that, I joined Unibet, where I was the head of product and trading.
Wow.
For like the entire French market. So it was like I was managing all the roadmap, the product roadmap, so new features. We did a lot of migration also there because we had a tech that was a bit old, let's say that, and so yeah, we did a lot of migration while I was there, and then I took also the responsibility of all the trading team. So it was 35 people based in France, Spain, in Italy, and like here, like the role of the trading team in a betting company, basically it's to manage all the odds, making sure that we cover all the events, all the competitions, that we have as many markets, as many odds as possible, and making sure, of course, that the odds are at the correct level, of course. And so yeah, that was a super exciting job that I had, and that's when I started to get to know a bit more about Web3, especially through NBA Top Shot. So I think it was back in end of 2020, beginning of 2021, something like that.
So you discovered Web3 through
NBA Top
Shot experience.
Yeah, that was my first experience, and of course, like when I was in the US, I started to learn a bit more about Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But for me, that was mostly like I'm not a financial guy. It's like I'm not like super keen into like speculation, like buying a token so that it pumps a bit and then making some profit out of it. So what I like is like create products, to create experience, to create games, etc. for the users. And what really strikes me is like the ownership. I think it's a game changer for basically everything, and especially in gaming. I think it will like change the way gaming works. Like it will revolutionize gaming.
Just on that, I'm curious to dig a little bit more on like why do you think like it's interesting for gaming right now? Like what's the Web3? Why Web3 narrative is interesting for gaming and all the experience you had with Unibet, for example?
Because I think it's hard to explain because it gives, for me, like it was so when I discovered Top Shot and then I started to buy the first moment, it really felt different. I don't know why, like being able to own it and to do whatever you want with them, it really felt different. And so for me, this experience strikes me, and that's when I really understand that I think it's going to be a game changer for the gaming industry. So it's super hard to really explain, but I think we will transition, due to this ownership, we will transition to playing games, to entering universe ecosystem. I don't know really how to call them, with economy, and where you can get some value from these ecosystems. So instead of just playing a game, you enter like kind of real world with their own economy. And for me,
to piggyback off that a little bit, right? Like when you talk about speculation is not necessarily the most interesting thing. Web3 at the end of the day, it's all about creating value at the end of it. And speculating in dollars and whatever ETH way is like one way of seeing that value actualized, but that's not necessarily the only value that can be created. Value can be created either via fun or utility. And when I think of like with gaming and you think of like this universe that could come out of it, having those durable assets that are transferable across experiences or across ecosystems is critical. Having digital assets operate much more like physical assets is critical. If you buy a jersey from your favorite team, you're allowed to wear that jersey outside of the stadium. Yeah. You're even allowed to wear that jersey at the rival stadium, right? Yeah. And like for those rules to be so normalized with digital assets is a bit backwards, and it will be seen as backwards as we continue to spread this out forward. So like when I think of gaming, it is by having value be fun or value be utility of an asset, not just speculative.
Yeah, of course.
Price will be.
Also, I see like the big switch in between, like the big switch of paradigm between like app. In Web 2, there was more like, okay, you have like app and users, and now you have like network and contributors. I would say that like that. Like I like to see it that way, so that like, why contributors? Because you can actually like create value and be rewarded for this value and be part of this whole economy, and not just being like an advertising target. And potentially also you want to expand this network, not just like you buy the assets on Top Shot or on MFL, and then you can play directly on MFL, but you can also play like on any kind of app that could potentially build on top of your infrastructure. And I think that's what unlocked like all the whole interoperability logic and like how the internet is already working like that. People are just trying to limit it. So it should work like that. I believe that's my strong belief on that. But like we quoted like a lot MFL already, and we need to understand what it is for the audience. I'm already a big fan of the product, so I'm sorry I'm biased totally. But like, so MFL stands for Metaverse Football League, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, what is MFL? And what we're doing with MFL, we give the opportunity to any football fan to create and manage his own football team, basically. And just like for the audience, when I'm saying football, I mean soccer, like just to make things clear.
Solo American.
So I will say football, and you will understand soccer, let's say. But so yeah, we give the opportunity to any football fan to create and manage his own football team. And so by that, what we're doing basically, we're recreating a parallel universe of football. So mimicking all the workings of the football world, like having agents, like clubs, like contracts, competitions, matches, etc. All this we mimic that, but we do it in everything is virtual. So you won't find Mbappe, you won't find Haaland in our game. We create and we generate these players. They are digital virtual players. Same for the clubs. That's our user that can create the club of their dream. And then we have the same working. So you can create your club, recruit players, and then participate to competitions based on your you will choose different you can choose your tactics, which formation you want to use, etc., how you want to play the game, like to be like kind of a tactician mastermind to outsmart your opponent, etc. And so you participate into competitions, and once you at the end of the competition, based on your performance, you will receive like some in-game currency that you can use to get more players, etc. And so that's really how the game works, and what we're doing at the moment.
That is exactly why I'm a big fan of the product, is because you spend so much time and attention into the gameplay itself, and I think a lot of people are spending like a lot of time on like the art direction, what looks like the NFT, what looks like the player, what looks like blah blah. I mean, all those things looks also good on your product, but I think like you focus strongly like on like creating this system that is well balanced in between like deploying energy and having challenge to play the game, but also having rewards by playing the game.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that like the whole value of this kind of game is you want to put the cursor at the right place to create like this challenging game, a bit like out of reach, but at the same time you can stretch and just seize the reward sometimes if you play well. And that's why I'm amazed about your the whole system that you built in this game. So you launched on Flow. Was it like just before the ICO, right? When the network arrived, actually.
So I think we launched in June 2022.
Okay.
That was the first drop that we did. But back then we didn't have any game. And yeah, as you were saying, like since we launched, we launched first like selling some NFTs, selling some players in packs, and selling some clubs, because we wanted to be sure that first there is a market for it, and that's the best way to make sure there is a market, like having paying customers, and to make sure that people like what we are doing, so that there is an interest from the users, and also it could help us to finance the development of the game, and since then we've been building this game, so it's like super complex to build the game. There are a lot of stuff from the players, like how do you manage them, how do they progress, how do they age, the contract part, like signing players between clubs and players, etc. And of course, the most complex stuff is the simulation of the football match, because we've created an algorithm. We have our engine team is working on creating this amazing algorithm to simulate a real football match, which is super hard because there is a lot of stuff that can happen. And so far we've done I think an amazing job, like creating this engine with we're simulating like 22 players on the pitch, their position on the pitch.
It's crazy.
They are taking decisions more than like every 0.5 seconds, something like that. So they're taking like each player is taking more than 6,000 decisions in a game, etc. And so it makes the each match is unique. Like anything can happen basically. And so yeah, that's and the balance to it's super important to have a right balance between making it challenging, making it understandable, making it fun for the user. So we are trying to cater everything to make it fun. And because at the end, our main focus was really to make it a fun game that people would like to play, not for earning some money. Like we want people to be able to play because like you go to the cinema, you're not going to the cinema because you want to earn money. No, you're just going there to have fun. And that's what we want. We want to have people, that's entertainment. We want people to come to our product because they want to have fun, because they will have emotion, because they want to really grasp what it is to own a football club, even it being a digital one. But yeah, that's what we want to, that's why we want to have people to come. And then we think that this having an economy on top of it, on top of the game, makes it even more fun, more skin in the game. So yeah, there are some potential profit for the best players, etc. But we don't want it to be the main motivation, and that's something that we've been super clear with our community and with our audience, that we really want people to have fun and to enjoy it.
Yes, to piggyback, like Dietz says this often. I think it's a really similar point, which is like the most fun or exciting part of owning an NFT can't be when you sell it. Like you need to enjoy owning it, engaging with it, and being a part of that. And I think MFL is a great example of how you can have this fun and be a part of it. Like it's far more engaging than just trying to move it to the next person, right? And so, I think it's an incredible way of seeing value, an incredible way of building an ecosystem.
And in the end, what is super cool with what we've created is that we see that there is different type of users, like different type of. Some are having fun because they like to buy and sell, and so they are like having fun in the trading side of like buying a player and reselling it a bit more, etc. So doing their own choices on that. So they're almost more trader profile, I would say. Then there is we have also the agent profile, that people that own a lot of players and that they find them club, they negotiate deals with other users, etc. So then we have the club owner guys, etc. And even in the club owners, there are different subcategories of people. So there are the ones that want to play in the top divisions, so they will buy like the top clubs, the top players, etc. And they want to compete at the top level. There are the ones that want to start at the bottom and then to build in this pyramid. So there's a lot of different ways to play the game, to enjoy the game, and I think that's really what we want to create. Like we create the foundation of this ecosystem, and then we want people to be able to interact the way they want and to have fun in different ways, because we are not all the same, and so we have different ways of having fun. So
what's the name of the lowest league again? It's like the Stone League or something like that. What is
now we created a new one.
Okay, so I'm not at the bottom anymore, is what you're telling me. I've moved up by creation. Cool.
That's a super interesting story, and just to give a bit of context also to the audience, it's kind of like, so you arrived on Flow on 2020. Top Shot was making around like $1 billion a year in volume at that time. You self-funded so you proved the value proposition by like selling the value proposition to a community, offering, not selling, but more like proposing the value proposition to a community, saying like, are they excited or not? Then using this kind of like NFT packs as like a validation of this value proposition with this offer of saying, this big vision of saying like, we're gonna build a game on top of it, and that's what we want to do. Do you like it? And then putting the consumer and the people at the beginning of the story to make sure that you build a narrative, you build a value proposition with them, and they are part of the product from the beginning. I was that close to be vulgar. And that's something that a lot of product guy, UX guy are speaking. They're always trying to put like the user in the middle and blah, blah, blah. But in that case, it's exactly what happened. I mean, like, and I can testify that I was there. I was like watching how you communicated at the time, and so people need to understand how like strong your adventure here is here, because like you arrived and everything was like growing really, really fast. You sold the narrative, and people were like, okay, that's really interesting. We want to be part of this adventure. And then the market slowed down. We all know that the market slowed down after a couple of events in the Web3 world. And you kept like your promise, and you built the game, and now you have amazing like engagement, and you have like an amazing game that exists, and that just to make it like just to make sure that like, so the audience realize like the path and the entrepreneurship path here, because that's a strong commitment. That's something that people like. A lot of users are sometimes like just like our community have like unsatisfaction regarding like the difference in between the expectation and the product behind. And I think you over deliver on that one. And I'm super excited to see how you're gonna keep like over delivering in the future. That's always the
No, but actually, yeah, I agree with what you said, and that's always been a bit our motto. Like we don't want to hype thing. We don't want to get like people just to come because of false expectation, etc. So that's really something that we've been clear from the beginning. I remember like before our first backdrop when we launched our first launch, I wrote an article that was on Medium. It's still on Medium. It's probably the first or second article that I wrote on Medium, and I was like, it was like maybe shooting a bit of bullet in our feet, but like it was really like I was saying like, don't come here if you think that you will buy some assets that will grow in value. Just make sure that come here for the game, come here for like the gameplay, what the future that we want to offer, etc. But don't think that it's going to be your assets will skyrocket to and that you will be able to make a lot of profits. There are some users that have been able to make some profits because the price have increased. There's dynamics in the market, but we didn't want it to be the main motivation. And I think that's also what enabled us to create a very like strong connection, strong bond with our community, because they are seeing that we are consistently building, consistently here in the Discord, like talking with them, like when they are saying some suggestions, we try to answer as much as we can. So we are like super like active in the Discord, talking to them. And yeah, we have like dev updates every week that we are publishing. Like Jan, our CTO, is publishing dev updates like to explain what we've done, and he's doing that every single week since 2 years. So that's really something that allows us to, for the community, to have, I think, trust in us and understand that we are here to create the game and just not here to make a quick buck and then leave us.
Well, and like the same example, you're a game builder in the sense, like, sure, someone bought the first Super Mario game and can sell it as a collectible later on, and it's worth way more. But that's not the value they got out of it. Like the value was the fun that they had, and the reason it sold for more is the connection that people ended up having with the fun that they had with that game. And so it's not necessarily the collectible gets value overnight, which we experienced at a time, but it's more about how do you build a brand that turns something that was not a collectible or close to a commodity into a collectible. And it's like, you don't buy the game to sell it. You buy the game to play it.
Yeah, and what we want in our vision also is that we think that also there will be like some people will be able to make profit, to generate profit, not only by trading and selling, but also by playing the game. Because if you are like finishing first in your competition, you will earn more like our in-game currency that you can use to get new players that you can resell or decide to keep for improving your team. So that's also like the mechanic here is like you are incentivized to play the game, and that's how you can earn basically. And
the value lies into the experience basically, and like you want to create a great experience. And speaking about experience, like so we all know like Flow blockchain like has like amazing IP. So like it's like NBA, NFL, UFC, Mattel, Disney. So we are known for this kind of thing. So I'm guessing that you identify Flow through. So you told me that you identify Flow through Top Shot.
Yeah.
And then seeing like all the sports IPs, and you wanted to launch a product sport. So I'm guessing like that's how you get closer to Flow. But like, why did you decide specifically to build on top of Flow to create this experience?
Right, so we made that decision, I think it was back in 2021, I think, when we really I think we wrote the first line of code in October, November 2021 for our first launch in June 2022. And so what was super important for us was like, there was different reasons behind that, but The first one was the user experience. When I was looking at other blockchain, other wallets, etc., it was super hard to find like a Web2 user experience. What I wanted to is that really like, because I know that this product is not going to be, there will be, of course, there are like some crypto people that are into our game, and that's great. But we know that to make it something big, the ambition that we have is to have like a mainstream audience, to have like everyone that loves football that can play the game. And we knew that for that we needed to have like an onboarding, like a super simple, super easy onboarding solution. And that's really why we choose Flow and the Dapper wallet, because we thought that this was the best onboarding solution at the time, and I think it's still the best at the moment. So yeah, that was the first reason. The second reason was also the scalability. It's hard, like when you want to attract a mainstream audience, that you tell them, okay, you want to do this action in the game, but you have to pay $2 to do it because of the gas fees, and that cannot work. So having like something super scalable in terms of the volume of transaction, we've seen with NBA Top Shot that it can handle a lot of transactions, and without any gas fees was something super important for us. And then after that, yes, there was of course the project that were on the blockchain. I think like at that time, I don't know if it was yet, but there was also La Liga Golazo, like a football game, etc. So there was like a lot of sports high fees that were on that. So we were like thinking, oh, it's also interesting for us. We can also tap into an audience that is interested in sports. So yeah, there was.
So this is big. It's 25 million users already.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm curious to. So I love like the approach of just like focusing also on like making the experience great, and then like trying to build a great game, and then see how we can create value through this experience. But also like, so we are speaking about like a lot about how to make the experience easy and simple and smooth. The experience became smooth also when the network is fast and can scale, and you're not blocked when you have like 1,000 users using your product. And we know that like Flow can handle like multiple million users at once with Top Shot. And I was just curious to understand better how Flow is scaling this experience with the architecture.
Absolutely. There's two things to scale, right? So you mentioned speed, and then there's also throughput to think about. So Flow is able to maintain its speed because it has large execution nodes, and it's able to have these large nodes process many transactions very quickly. But they're not necessarily having to give up on decentralization with that, right? There's a separation of consensus nodes that can run on consumer-grade hardware. Everyone can kind of participate and form a consensus of the network, ensuring that we don't over-centralize on these large nodes and limit abilities. The other aspect of that is also the throughput is with Flow and the account model and transaction model. A single account can actually have multiple transactions be processing at the same time. So you don't necessarily have to wait for transaction A to be fully completed or finalized before you go forward with transaction B. So you can almost think of it like just queuing up a bunch of actions that you want to have happen on Flow, and the blockchain will be able to process it as it can process.
And that's how you can create experience like Top Shot, like Metaverse Football League, and this kind of thing, and make sure that even if you have like 2 million users, 3 million users at once doing exactly the same action, it works.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's and I mean like also that's interesting for the audience to understand sometimes, because we are all Web3. So it's all about also conviction and where we are pushing the internet, and I believe that like sometimes like some L2 model, for example, can scale with like more like centralized aspect, where you just like externalize the execution with centralized server. Yes, it works, but I don't know it's where we are trying to go. So and speaking about like the Web3 philosophy and what it enables, like on your side, Mathurin, like how do you see the product evolve in this philosophy in the following months, years?
Our like the closest part of like the beginning of our roadmap, what we want to do is really, at the moment we're still in beta mode, so we don't have like the full game. So there's a lot of new features that we want to release. That are linked to the gameplay. The main features that we want to release, like I think that's going to be released in few weeks, few months. It's to have a 2D visualization of our matches. At the moment, we have a visualization that is where we don't see all the 22 players on the pitch, etc. But that's what we are able to do, and so that's what we will be able to do in the next following weeks, to have like this 2D visualization where you can see exactly what happens on the pitch. You can understand better the decision that you made, etc. So that's going to be really a game changer for our users. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to have the player aging and player development. That's something crucial for our game, because it makes, in terms of gameplay, it's of course it makes it more realistic. Players are aging, they can evolve, they can progress, etc. So it makes the games even more fun for the users, and that also enables us as a business model to have something sustainable. We know that the supply is something super important in Web3, and with player aging, at some point your player will retire, so you won't be able to use them anymore. And so that creates for us like kind of an automatic burn, or like a native burn inside our game, which makes it sustainable on the long term, because we can keep selling NFTs as the game continue to.
I love it. I think that's how you identify like a commitment that is healthy in the system. It's when it creates like a healthy rule for the builder so that they can keep building, but also a healthy rule on the game so that it creates the right tension and it keep the people excited. So I like to see like the Web3 game as a more like systemic approach. Like you are adding a role, and then this role will have consequences for different stakeholders. And you want to make sure that when you add a role, you're not like undervaluing or giving like deception or unsatisfaction to a specific like segment of the contributor of this system. And that's why also I think like that's pretty hard today to build this kind of game, because that you need to shift mentally the way you build a product. It's not just like you building a product for the audience, but you building a system with different stakeholders interacting with the system. The same way potentially people will be able to leverage your NFT collection in the future and build stuff on top of it. Yet then you will add like a new stakeholders to it. And we like to say that like code is low, and so we are taking as a Flow Foundation is taking commitments, saying, for example, XYZ commitments, saying that's the commitments and that's the rules you can trust, and then we can all build around those commitments. Speaking about scalability, speaking about transaction costs, speaking about like user experience, this kind of thing. But also like at a different layer as a product builder, like you need to make those commitments also to give this transparency for everyone being part of the system. Otherwise that doesn't go anywhere.
And actually that's a good point, because that's really like, so for the moment our focus has really been on the game, on the gameplay, because it's what allows us to have new users, etc. I think in the pretty much longer time, second time of our roadmap, when we will have the game will never be finished. I think it will always
good art, right?
It's always been better. Exactly. So, but I think at some point, something that we would like to do is to bring more stuff on chain. There are some parts of the games that we haven't put on chain for like simplicity, for like going faster in terms of development for us. We have limited resources, etc. But I think also like allowing to have more stuff on chain. I'm thinking about the contracts that are between players and clubs that could be on chain, like the match results, the competitions. Like we have a lot of data that are inside our database that we could put on chain, that we will allow to really create the, as I was saying, the foundation of our ecosystem, and to have anyone coming and being able to build on top. And for that, we need to have like, more stuff on chain, more transparency, etc. And so that's something that we want to do in the future to allow this interoperability that is allowed by the blockchain. So, but at the moment, as we are like with limited resources, like we wanted to really focus on the gameplay, the experience, to bring new users, and to start the flywheel, I would say.
That's a lot of. So putting more things on chain, I think there will be, you will be happily surprised in the following weeks based on like the next upgrade. So we're gonna do like a major upgrade on the network. We call that crescendo. We have like two main elements for regarding this upgrade. So once is the EVM zone fully equivalent with the EVM network so that anyone can deploy Solidity on Flow and then and leverage straight away the speed and the transaction cost, but also like potentially adding some user experience feature to make the app just a better experience with Cadence. And EVM Zone is one thing, Cadence 1.0 is another thing. And I think based on that, you will be able that will make your life as a product, but also as a product builder, but also as a developer, that will make your life way more easier to put way more things on chain. I would love to deep dive a little bit with you, Sean, about Cadence 1.0. What do you think? How do you think it can solve this vision?
Yeah, so the most exciting thing I think for Cadence 1.0 is it's a maturity point for the language. So we developed Cadence. It's a resource-oriented programming language that allows for these assets, these NFTs, or even fungible tokens, to act like true resources on the network itself. And so what it does really well is which account owns which assets, which is not always clear in other programming languages like Solidity. It's a much more difficult problem to solve. But with Cadence, we wanted to solve that. We had to bootstrap this language, and 1.0 is that first major mile marker for us, right? That first major milestone, which is a promise from us to the community that we're going to be backwards compatible going forward, which allows then for immutable smart contracts, which then allows for this incredible like catalyst moment of composability of not just assets, but of logic as well. And once you have those immutable rules of logic that you can compose and build on top of, I'm very excited to see how builders could collaborate or work together and compose and expose composable hooks for each other and see what happens on that next level. And I think how I see that open state or see that logic is it's another moment that'll look very similar to the open source movement.
Yeah. And we're gonna release like some cool elements regarding the open state concept. We had like a breakthrough moment with Christine Peterson on another podcast. Christine Peterson is from an amazing researcher from the MIT. She coined the name open source 30 years ago, and we had this breakthrough moment where we spoke about how like open state could be the evolution of open source, because open source is a lot of debate around AI right now. Like, should you open source everything? How does it work and stuff like that? But it's still an amazing movement that enables people to build, to collaborate, and also try not to be evil as a builder. And so I think that's definitely something. So we're gonna follow up on that. We will put that's how they do it on YouTube. We can put the link. We'll put the link below if it's live, or just to sign up and with a waitlist. But also something that I got excited when I discovered Cadence 1.0, that was the way you can like potentially like integrate like scripted transaction and put like way more do way more things at once. So when you want to put like more action on chain, you can definitely use this kind of thing to just like do everything at once. Make your transaction secure with like pre or post condition to make sure when you do like complex on-chain logic, you want to test like XYZ criteria before running transaction, pre and post transaction, but also like doing it like potentially in atomic way, like doing every action just at once when you're specifically in DeFi or even like in MFL when you're playing with like a lot of value, you want to make sure that like potentially you don't create any breach, so you do everything at once. It's more secure and it's happening at the same time, so no one can just front run anything. And last things that I like, but that's not exactly Cadence 1.0. That was already there with that was like the fact of delegating the gas fees, for example. That's why like Dapper wallets was like so easy to use and stuff like that.
I'm seeing also something that is we haven't explored yet, but that we would like to, is also like a randomness on chain, which I think is also something super interesting. That for example, we have some pack drops at the moment, and so the content of the pack is handled on our side, on our server, etc. So that it's not fully transparent about what is inside the pack, what the people receive, etc. And so I think putting that on chain, having like the thing that you receive from your pack directly, the logic being handled on chain, so that it can be transparent. You can prove that what you received is what you were meant to have, etc. Based on pure randomness. I think it's also something super interesting in this pack opening experience, but also can be used in a lot of other places of our game, because we have also a lot of randomness that are involved that can be inside player progression, inside our match engine, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that we could explore on this side, and I like this ability to have randomness on chain, which is something I think pretty rare, that is not super easy to do with other blockchain, other products, etc. So
yeah, you're right. I mean, we were saying like it's all about also commitment and transparency, this space, and so using this kind of tool directly at the protocol level just make it transparent and easy.
Well, and like that's when we talk about flow and some of the fundamentals, the biggest thing we see flow as is like it is the developer platform. It's not necessarily just the wires that are connecting a bunch of other platforms. It is the developer platform. And so what can we do as that platform to expose the right hooks to developers so that they don't have to integrate 5 different platforms to get their application done? They just need flow, and they can interact with flow. You can use on-chain random. You can use the get sponsored transactions functionally. You can use the ability to propose. You can use the scripted transactions to do many things at once. You don't need to integrate with 5 different things. All what a developer should be exposed
to a full stack chain.
Exactly.
Great. I mean, that's needed. I mean, it's just we need that.
Like you think of the analogy of like developing today. Like if you had to go make a different deal with a different company for a database, or where you want to run a container, or which container you want to use to run, that turns into 20 different pieces of your tech stack that you have to then wrangle and hope they all play well together.
Yeah.
And it's a nightmare.
And also the same way, for example, I love this logic. Potentially the product team gonna kill me if they see that. But like the same way you are working with your community, you are collaborating with the players and making sure you integrate like all the features that they like and that they want. And you say that like, and I can testify that that's not just a marketing punchline. He did that he didn't miss one weekly update for the last 2 years, 3 years, even for Christmas time, or any kind of religious event, anyway. I really want to push that logic forward at the Flow Foundation level, so that if we are a full stack chain, you should be able also like to say, hey, I need that feature, and it should be at the protocol level and opening the wish list somehow, and so that we can have also on our side a more open roadmap, and that people can contribute and say that's needed. I need to do that, and that would avoid to reinvent the wheel each time someone needs a feature. So now you know that you're gonna have an open roadmap with many requests, and the product team gonna kill me. But at the same time, I think it's good for the community, so let's do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's really something that has worked well with our community. That allows us to build the trust, to create like this this positive contribution from the users, really understanding the need. I think for me, like that's what I see. Like as an entrepreneur, you need to find what your users want, like what do they need. Sometimes you need to transform that, like to reinterpret a bit, because you cannot just do what they want. You need to, of course, think into a more global scale, more global level at your company level, what is possible, etc. But it's super important to understand what they want, what they need, what is fun for them, especially for a game. And so that's why, like, with tools now that we have, like Discord, open roadmaps and stuff like that, we are really able to have like this transparency and this bond with the community, and I think that's great to create a product.
What's the main KPI you are monitoring to achieve that?
But actually, we are not really monitoring KPIs around that, etc. What we are trying to really see is like, are people active in the Discord? Do we have people chatting? Do we have people interacting with us? So we are not like following big KPIs, because it's you can, it's kind of organic. It's also something that you it's hard to really measure, because sometimes it's going to be like, I'm going to have a call with the users and we will spend 1 hour. I remember at the beginning I spent like sometimes 3 hours with some users, because just I wanted to really understand them, really like, and actually I like that to interact with the people, etc. So we are not really monitoring KPIs. It's really genuine. Like, we want to understand what they want, what they feel, and so and And something also that we've done, like it's like we use the entire community that can gather feedback, etc. And we also have like we call them our captains. So it's like really some power users that we that have like we have a special discussion group with them, and that we can ask also when we have like some specific questions. We can also ask them first, like to grasp a bit the feeling of the community. And so having like this these power users that you can identify in your community and making them ambassadors of your project, of your product, etc., is also something like a super good way to scale, to grow your product, to grow your audience, and yeah, so that's also something that we managed to do, and that's super helpful in the end.
I mean, we are also like doing that like in somehow like we have like this open office hour where like anyone from the community can just jump into Discord, chat with the tech team, and try to understand how it works. You can also like suggest a lot of like new features that you like in GitHub directly, but potentially we want to make it like more mainstream, more accessible in the future, so that anyone can really like just interact with it and interact and give their feedback and making sure that they are heard. I mean, I agree with you. Like sometimes KPIs that's not potentially the most important things for this kind of topic. Potentially 3 hours of a call with a user can make you save like 3 months of roadmap, making sure you're going to the right direction. But okay, that's how we should keep building, and I'm super interesting about that. So super excited. Sorry about this mechanism. Why should the people go run to the MFL product right now and discover the product?
But I think it's really like if you like football, if you ever dream to own your to get and to create, to manage your own football team, I think that's you should try MFL, because that's like I think the closest thing possible to like the closest thing to owning a real club that you're the closest experience, I would say. So yeah, I think that should be the main reason, like to have fun, to enjoy, participating also to this community. Like we have a game that is super social, so you will interact with real users. Like there are already a lot of football management games that exist, but here what is much more fun is that you are not playing alone in your own save, in your own world. You play in a real world against or with other people, so you can collaborate, you can compete with them. So I think that's one of the most exciting things for our users. And the last thing is that compared to like another football game, like there is a real economy on top of it. And so yeah, that makes it, you can do whatever you want with your assets. You can sell them if you get a super good player that you train and that progress, then you can resell it, or you can use it in your team. You can pretty much do whatever you want with him. So yeah, I think that's if you want to have fun, like live this experience of being a coach, that's yeah.
So the earlier you join the community, the better spot will be potentially.
No, but it's not only that. It's just that like joining joining early, it's something like also allows you to be part of the creation of this world that we are trying to create. For me, I really see it like, I think what we're creating is more than a game. Of course, there's a part of it that is a game, you can have fun, etc. But we are really trying to create a universe where you can, when you can live your football dream, basically. And we decided, like, compared to a lot of projects or like other games, etc., that when they were trying to build this universe, they directly went to a 3D visualization of the universe. And I think that's super cool. And in the longer term, we would love to have a 3D visualization of our universe where you can be immersed in this universe, and like having like and that would be something super cool. But I think it's super hard to do. And we've focused on building the mechanism, the gameplay in this universe, so that you have something to do, because a lot of what happens is that you create this amazing 3D universe, and then you arrive in the universe and there's, it's cool. What do I do? Yeah, you have nothing to do. So we really focused on creating the utility, the value, the gameplay, having fun, and then we want to expand to something even bigger. And that's why I'm saying like we're creating more than a game. We're creating a digital universe, I would say.
when I guess you mentioned like training the players. I know within the game you can be an agent and then you can also be like a club owner. Like in living your football dream, like what I instantly imagine is it would be incredible if you could have these players age out and then have like a Hall of Fame of people like players, and then have a Hall of Fame of trainers that are actually players of the game, not just players of the Metaverse League. And that Hall of Fame, that status would be incredible. I'm sure people would want to have that whole journey, make it to the Hall of Fame, and then like, I want to go do that again. That would start from the bottom.
That's what we see also in the game. It's like so when you win a competition, when you win a cup or a league or something like that, you got a trophy at the end, and so you got both the trophy, which is more like an honorific something that doesn't have any value, that you can basically not do much with it, but it's like something that you have and that sees in your account. And then you also get some MFL coin that are our in-game currency. And we've seen that most of the time people were like, not all of the people, but some of the people, they like, what they really care about is getting this trophy, getting this, it's like this status stuff that is, and so that's also super cool to see.
As you say, like, it's not just like, it has a huge value. It's just not like money value. It's just,
exactly.
It's a status. That's the reward of a whole, like,
exactly. It doesn't have any money value, but it has
a huge value for the people that care about the game, and that's great.
Well, I guess to piggyback on it, it's not just monetary value.
Yeah,
there is monetary value, but it's not just that. You buy a movie to watch it. You can resell the movie if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you didn't buy it to just sell it again for $20.
Yeah, of course. And potentially this movie can become rare. When you were speaking about visualization, I also got excited about like how potentially like you can play with all those new technology, like this AI technology in the future, to just like skyrocket this experience and just like generate amazing image, generate amazing video clip, and make this whole like metaverse feel like way more real, and you can like really visualize and see it. So AI is gonna be a big plus, I think, in your roadmap.
Yeah.
When you start releasing all this amazing work. And also like we are waiting for AI. We're also waiting for Vision Pro integration. we want to play directly in the Metaverse Football League in the Vision Pro. I think it's a great way to start with the game and then have the Metaverse in order to have something to do with it, and not just do like the Facebook proof of concept. All good, Zach. I'm on your side too. And so excited to join MFL and to thank you to our amazing audience to watch until the end. I invite everyone to join the MFL website to start the experience on MFL and participate to the next season. And thank you very much, both of you, for your time and this really amazing discussion that we had today. And join the Flow network and start interacting with all this amazing product.
Thank you. Thanks. It was a pleasure to be there and talk with you.
That's good. Thank you, guys. See you soon on another podcast.